The root of the issue was this person was on the outs. The team did not include him on anything. And they ultimately ate his Ben & Jerry's ice cream. It was a scoop that finally sent him over the edge. Like so many of these conflicts are so basic. They're so simple, frankly. It's just a really small percentage of like Harvey Weinstein's bad people doing really bad things. It's a small percentage. Most employment litigation or employee relations, it's just good people, yes, just fighting. And so, the idea was like, all right, if we could teach people and teach people to I call it navigating around the rocks, not navigating into the rocks, then they have a better experience because no one wants to be in conflict with their coworker, hate their manager. No one wants that. And it would save time and money for the organization. That could go back into employees' paychecks, frankly, and then they don't have the stress.
Hi, I'm Denise Chaffin, and I am your podcast host for Talking TA. And we are at Transform 2025, and I am here with Janine Yancey, who is the founder and CEO of Emtrain. So, Janine,
Yes.
tell us a little bit about Emtrain, or tell us a lot about Emtrain.
I'll tell you a lot about it. Okay. So Emtrain is an e-learning and analytics provider on compliance and culture topics. So your harassment prevention, your code of conduct, your diversity and inclusion. We know that's a little bit of a sensitive topic these days.
That's okay. Let's have that talk.
Okay, well, a lot of time. And we're providing analytics at the same time because we take a skills-based approach. So all those topics we're breaking down into key skills. Our training is designed around these skills, and we're pulsing for those skills in the workforce at the same time. So it's kind of a combination of like an engagement survey meets e-learning all into one.
Who are you targeting?
So we're targeting businesses with at least a few hundred employees, that do their annual training programs and bigger.
Okay. So let's go ahead and dive into some of the biggest compliance issues that people are facing right now.
I think under the umbrella of like harassment and discrimination and bias, you've got a lot of situations percolating on mental health leaves. So leaves of absence is a big one. It's not really a compliance issue, but burnout is a big one.
Okay.
People not feeling psychologically safe because of the socio-political environment is a big one. So in our newest course, we talk about First Amendment rights and how those rights affect what you can say in the workplace. So meaning we do not have 100% green light to say whatever we want in the workplace.
Right.
So those are some of the big issues.
Some of the guardrails are down right now, though, right?
Yes.
And what are some of the questions people are coming to you with around the current
landscape?
Yeah, that's the word I want to use.
There's a couple themes. So from the employer theme, because employer leaders are coming to us saying, what do you recommend in terms of us supporting D&I within our workforce? Given that the Attorney General has basically declared war, even on the private sector, of D&I, what should we do? What we're recommending is streamline your language, characterize it really as inclusion, and the product that we're releasing today, your leadership skills. So connect inclusion with the leadership skills. And so all of your strategies, all of your programs map back to the leadership skills. And we all know leaders create high-performing teams. So you need the strong skills in your leaders. So it's not D&I in isolation.
Right.
It's actually inclusion to develop those strong leadership skills so the whole team feels empowered, motivated, and productive. So that's what we're saying.
Okay, now I noticed that DEI, the acronym itself has kind of been put on a back burner, and the word is inclusion that we're hearing more and more. So how has that changed in corporate America, if you would, with respect to people feeling safe or people feeling protected, that type of thing. And what are leaders going to do to make those adjustments, for this new type of inclusion?
I think we're in a little bit of a paradigm shift right now.
Okay.
I don't think people feel safe because the other point I was going to raise is from employees, we're hearing that they don't feel safe. I think it's going to take a little bit of a moment
Okay.
as the organizations demonstrate that they're still there, they're still supporting people, they're building the skills, direct managers, mid managers, and the leaders.
Okay.
My anticipation is that people will start to feel a little bit more comfortable, that it's not 180 degrees different.
What companies are being affected? Is it large companies, small companies? I mean, who are you hearing from?
So the first line of vulnerable companies are any company with a federal contract.
Okay.
So our president said, if you have a federal contract, you're not allowed to do D&I training. Just no. So that's a lot of companies. Second tier would be larger companies that have a lot of influence on our marketplace.
Okay.
Our president asked our Attorney General of the United States to make a list of companies that have a large influence on the market. And if those companies are sponsoring D&I programs, to prosecute them.
Right.
That's what's happening.
So what is your solution, if you would, for these companies, especially the companies with government contracts?
It's looping back to what I referenced. So make it about leadership skills, direct manager skills, take a more integrative approach. It's not just D&I in a vacuum.
Right.
It's all break down D&I into the essential ingredients: allyship, empathy, communication. We've known those for 20 years.
Right. Before D&I even came around.
Exactly.
Right.
So D&I, this is kind of an interesting thought, right? So D&I got a total tailwind, when George Floyd was murdered in 2020. It became kind of a buzzword, a theme, and almost disconnected from its roots.
Right.
We got to get back to the roots.
Right.
The roots are the soft skills we've been working on for 20 years.
Right. I love that, though, because we can take it back to the roots. Oh, that is great. It's such a great conversation. So those roots, like you said, include communication,
Allyship, empathy, valuing differences. We're all different.
right?
What else? Conflict resolution. People solve conflict very differently. So part of being a good direct manager, mid-level manager, is understanding how each one of your direct reports is wired.
Okay.
How they prefer to solve conflicts. Sometimes people don't like the direct approach. Sometimes it takes a while. Everyone's different. Even if you're in the same generation, same socioeconomic or racial background, even if on the surface everything is the same, we're still different.
So we are a global team basically. I have some of our employees in Seattle, some in Dallas, some spread all over US and some in India, right? So we want to make sure that we have that cohesive atmosphere and the belongingness what we give to our employees. I mean, obviously some of these software tools I'll be using so that the work between the different time zones becomes easier, and some of them are the leadership and the coaching, which I think is really good, which the team should have, because it's not just the work what we do, it's something the employees should feel it's a part of wellness and coaching and overall wellness, right? Not the work I need to do, but mental well-being and everything.
So let's break down as well. One of the articles I read in HR Dive, are you familiar with them? Was that 80% of companies are still wanting to recognize some of the programs that have worked for them over the years. And we're talking about the grassroots programs,
Right.
employee resource groups,
Yes.
pay equity programs. So how are you coaching people on that because of your company?
Yeah, so we are coaching, and I think it's as simple as draw a direct connection between your programming, your strategies to business results.
Okay.
Right? So pay equity audits, it's a direct connection to reducing risk of class actions,
Sure.
and retention. As simple as that.
Ooh. So let's talk about retention for a minute. Do you have data on companies then who have improved, I guess, retention, utilizing some of the solutions that you're offering them?
We have data on not necessarily retention, although we're correlating our data to retention metrics.
Okay.
We have data predicting we're going to have employee relations issues.
Okay.
We have data showing the business units that are the healthiest in terms of allyship, communication, like all the things that we're trying to develop.
Okay.
We're basically measuring the skills within these groups
Okay.
and sharing that data back to the clients.
So when you share this data back to the clients, you're giving them a before
No.
and a during the process and then an after. I mean, how are you breaking down that data?
It's actually simple for us because all of our campaigns are at least annual.
Okay.
And then we'll do video micro lessons in between.
Okay.
So on an annual basis, we're comparing.
Okay.
And then typically probably every 2 quarters, we're checking back and measuring to see improvement.
So when you are looking at or talking to companies who might be at risk for employee relation risk, right, themselves,
Yeah.
what are some of the red flags or what are some of the things that you notice that people can look out for?
So I'm connecting to my former life as an employment litigator. So in employment litigation, you're looking for bias, in-group, out-group dynamics, and power dynamics, unhealthy power dynamics.
Okay.
So we're asking those questions in our harassment prevention course that everyone has to take every single year.
Okay.
And so based on those answers, we're creating hotspots within the organization of where they have core power dynamics, a lot of in-group, out-group dynamics, and bias. And that's where you're going to find all your employee relations.
So what's the in-group, out-group?
It's as simple as you've got a team of 4 people.
Okay.
3 of the 4 are friends, and they leave that 4th out. That 4th person never gets it. I mean, it's pretty basic.
Okay. Okay.
And yet, all your harassment lawsuits, your discrimination lawsuits, come from something as basic as that.
Really?
Yes.
Can you give us some other examples?
So, one of the last investigations I conducted, so this is like a month-long investigation, a 6-figure investigation.
No.
The root of the issue was this person was on the outs. The team did not include him on anything. And they ultimately ate his Ben & Jerry's ice cream. And that was the straw that broke the camel's back.
Oh.
And when I was interviewing him,
Or the scoop.
that was a scoop that finally sent him over the edge. And he was really emotional.
Oh.
And he's like, and they ate my Ben & Jerry's ice cream. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was like $120,000 investigation. I'm like, can I get you another pint?
Yeah.
But
That's I get you another pint.
that's employment litigation.
Yeah.
Most of it is,
It's stuffing.
well, I mean, talk to any employment lawyer. It's like babysitting kids. I hate to be so disrespectful to all the employees, but it's like babysitting kids.
Wow. So now when you okay, I'm a new client for you.
Okay.
And I have a team of 50 people, let's say. And yeah, we're running into some organizational development issues. I know that could put us at risk. And in fact, I could honestly think of a situation that I had about 2 years ago, I guess it was, with a woman who we hired, we shouldn't have hired. So I had to let her go. And then she came storming back. Horrible. So I've got 50 people. For the most part, they get along. But yeah, there's some cliquishness going on.
The clicks will really do a number on you.
Okay, so how do I break up these cliques?
Well, so first, you gotta see. So if you're our client, we would show you where the clicks are.
Okay.
Because in the training, the person who's on the outs would say, "I'm always on the outs."
Okay.
Right. So then you have to hold the managers accountable. That's part of the leadership training. That's a reflection of them.
Nice.
It's like, hey, connect the in-group, out-groups. That's on you, leader, manager.
We know what's going on in the workforce. We know what skills are coming up, what's the affect of employees. So we're going to train you on how best as a manager to deal with the new wave of whatever's going on in the employee community without us having to be 100% like antennas out. We'd rather have a partner who's going like, hey, this is what we're seeing trending.
And so what is that manager supposed to do then? What's his or her next step?
So that person is facilitating group activities, chatting with direct reports, saying, hey, please don't be exclusive.
Okay.
Like, we're all about inclusion here. Don't exclude people.
Okay. So then what programs could I put in place to kind of, I remember organizational development, team, what would you call it? Team exercises, remember years ago? And those sometimes seem to work. No, is that something that you suggest to the people, to companies, to kind of bring that cohesion back?
I think any kind of an inclusion course, frankly,
Okay.
motivating employees, give that to the managers. There's a number of different topics, really.
Okay.
So the question is, at Emtrain, we have 16 skills, a framework of 16 skills.
Okay.
We're teaching everyone, no matter what their role is, those skills so that they get stronger.
So now every person, regardless of their role, then has the training in on these 16 skills.
Yes.
What are some of those skills that we have?
So the competencies are ethics, respect, inclusion, and belonging. And there's 4 skills in each competency, right? So in respect, it's bias, mitigating our own biases, connecting in group and out groups, managing our power. And at the enterprise level, it's ensuring equality.
Okay.
For inclusion, it's fostering curiosity, allyship. I don't have it in front of me, but we can find it on our website. There's 16 skills.
Wow.
To the extent that you're firing in all pistons on all the skills throughout your organization, you're not going to have turnover.
Okay.
You're not going to have complaints.
Okay.
I mean, like, that's a healthy, high-performing organization.
Well, first of all, I'm looking for something I wasn't looking for that I'm getting is support, whereby people are people. So whether it's Barbados, whether it's Asia, whether it's the US, people are people. And we have the same challenges, we have the same needs. What I'm looking for specifically is how can we enhance the employee experience? I do find that work no longer means the same thing as it did before. People are not just living to work. They want to have a life, and work is a part of that life. How can we make the work experience more positive while still having productivity and engaging team members, as well as building trust in the organization? We now find ourselves in an age where we have 5 generations in the workplace.
And you have on here the workspace color spectrum.
Yes, talk about that. So we all want to be green.
Okay, we all want to be green. Oh, okay.
So this is a shared language we developed. It's obviously super simple. Green, yellow, orange, red.
Okay.
So that we're giving instant feedback through colors on behavior.
Okay.
We're not making it personal.
Okay.
We're not calling you a harasser or biased, which is what happens, right? People get emotional. Well, they either won't say anything or they'll say, you're a harasser or you're biased. And nothing good is going to come of that, ever. But if you just say, hey, that was a little orange. And then I'm like, oh,
I love it.
my bad.
Yeah, I love it.
And so some of our clients tell us they've actually seen situations where individual contributors are telling the CEO of like a 1,000-person company, hey boss, that was a little orange. All right, my bad. It's like you're giving psychological safety to everyone. You're giving permission to give feedback that's a little bit like redirecting. And anyone, no matter what your role, can do it.
Yes. Well, plus it's making it less personal and making it more of a group effort, if you will.
Shared language.
It's a shared language.
Because if you say, hey, you're harassing me, the immediate reaction is going to be, no, I'm not. And then we're just like this.
Right.
That's my world of employment litigation. It's fighting all the time.
Is that why you created Emtrain?
Yes. I was tired of the fighting. Really, tired of the fighting.
So what were your first thoughts in terms of like, okay, I'm going to create this business because I'm tired of the fighting. And I'm going to evaluate my clients, correct? And I'm going to give them these courses. I can remember years ago because, we've known each other a long time. And so when you created this company, you're thinking, okay, I'm going to create these exercises, these programs and whatnot because of the complaints, because of the infighting, because of the compliance issues that these are having.
Yeah, so the expense is unreal.
Yes.
And like I said, like so many of these conflicts are so basic.
Right.
They're so simple, frankly.
Right.
Like it's just a really small percentage of like Harvey Weinstein's bad people doing really bad things. That's a small percentage. Most employment litigation or employee relations, it's just good people, yes, just fighting.
Right.
And so, the idea was like, all right, if we could teach people and teach people to I call it navigating around the rocks, not navigating into the rocks,
Okay.
then they have a better experience because no one wants to be in conflict with their coworker, hate their manager. No one wants that.
True.
And it would save time and money for the organization. That could go back into employees' paychecks, frankly.
Sure.
And then you don't have to stress.
Or bonuses at the end of the year.
Right.
Oh my gosh, where you've got, hey, everybody was green this year.
Everyone's green this year. And guess what? Less employee relations issues, less turnover. It all went to the bottom line. Thank you. There's a bonus.
Now, have you actually put that into motion where you've seen that kind of success come out of you? So,
Well, so we're just now starting. So we released the analytics about a little over a year ago.
okay.
And we're tracking people and we're correlating data, business outcomes.
Because that's huge. That'll be huge.
Well, what I love is we all know that chief people officers are a cost center.
Yes.
And if we can also give them the tools to say to their CEO, CFO, I'm saving you money. Give me a little bit of kudo points. So I'm saving you money.
Yeah.
So 70% of the operating budget in most knowledge worker companies is your people.
Right.
And you could say, hey, as a chief people officer, I'm in charge of that 70%. I need to maximize our output
Right.
of that amount of spend. I'm going to reduce employee relations issues, reduce turnover, and optimize our team performance. That's on me. And if I feel like we can get our chief people officers saying that, backed by with some real numbers, they're going to do well this year.
My background is primarily in construction, and to be honest, it's kind of the Flintstones when it comes to technology. So to be able to bring something that's pretty advanced into a business could be really beneficial. And as a people leader, when you have an L&D team, a communications team, a compliance team, having one thing in one spot could really be helpful. So it's really good.
Going back to the teams, though, so you've got a chief people officer who's gone to his CEO and his CFO. This is what I want to put in place. Here, I'm going to use Emtrain as our partner, our learning partner in this. And when they're explaining them, when the CPOs, chief people officers, are explaining to the CEOs and the CFOs, what is the initial reaction typically from the CFO and the CEO? How can they sell your company and your program to the CEO and CFO?
So we've had a few examples. So typically the chief HR officer, it's within their domain and their budget to make a decision. Now, when we're maybe a little bit more money than they want to spend, they will go to the CFO and they'll say, hey, CFO, 2 solutions for the price of 1.
Okay.
Because we're getting the same output as we get from our engagement survey,
Okay.
culture survey. We're getting it from Emtrain.
Okay.
And on top of that, we're also getting risk analytics to make our employee relations team all that much more effective. And that's usually enough for the CFO to say, makes sense.
Yep. Typical. Now, what about the training, going back to the employees that you're having some issues with? What about those employees, and what are some of the training programs, if you would, to help them to get along? Because I still go back in my head. I have this employee, right? And she's just a total pain. I'm trying to circumvent some issues that she's creating by trying to incorporate some team building exercises, that type of thing. But I still have this one problem employee. What do I do now?
So there's a couple of things to do. One, you can share at a high level, hey, these are the health scores of this team.
Okay.
We're on a journey. We collectively have some work to do, and every team member has a responsibility in getting us to a better, healthier spot.
Right.
Here's the skills I want to see exhibited and practiced by each one on the team. And you start just moving forward, checking back, holding people accountable for demonstrating the skills that you've outlined.
I think one of the biggest fears that we have as employers, though, is if we have to let somebody go because they're not moving forward, like you're talking about, and we have to let them go, worried about that person coming back and suing us for wrongful termination, that type of thing. So what happens there?
So if you have clear communication and you demonstrated that and obviously writing at least once or twice, it's fine. I mean, if I put my employment lawyer hat on, back when I was advising companies, your general guidance should be you're writing for a third party. I mean, yes, you're writing for that employee too, but think about the message you're sending being read by a plaintiff's lawyer, and you're basically convincing that plaintiff's lawyer, the imaginary plaintiff's lawyer, not to take this person.
Right.
So if you think about it that way,
Okay.
like, hey, employee, this is what the team needs. Here's the skills. I need to see these skills demonstrated. Okay, that's message one. Message two, hey, employee, I told you we need to see these skills demonstrated. I'm not seeing these skills demonstrated as evidenced by, then you put in the situation, blah, 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 blah. And then the third message, hey, employee, I regret to inform you that this is no longer a fit.
Yeah.
And that third message, the third message, again, you're writing it to convince some third person that they're hands off. They don't want to, this is not the issue for them.
Right. Any other key points that people ask you, or key issues that people come to you with that you want to bring up?
Well, I'll just say I'm super excited about the newest product that we're releasing, the leadership reports.
Okay.
We spoke on it yesterday.
Okay.
And we're sharing it today with folks. What I will be very interested to see is when you start giving leaders basically scores,
Right.
and stack rank them against their peers,
Yeah.
both within their organization and compared to other organizations in their same ecosphere. I think you'll start to get the engagement from the leaders that they want to do better. So the only tool that chief HR, chief people officers have right now is the engagement survey, right? And they kind of like beat up department heads a little bit with like, hey, your scores are no good. This is a little bit of a different perspective, different angle. It's like, hey, we all have skills that we're accountable of becoming proficient at. Based on the employee sentiment of your organization, you've got some opportunities to develop those skills a little bit. And Frank next door has better skills. Let's learn from Frank what he's doing. I'm here to help. I'm here to teach.
Right.
You know, and we're all on a journey. So just like we're color coding actions and making it we're just doing it psychologically safe, we're kind of doing something similar for leaders we're all on a learning journey.
So how many of these leaders, though, are top C-level executives versus like the...
We could go down all the way to the direct manager.
Okay. All right. But you start with the CEO.
Yes.
And that way then that CEO then measured first.
Yes.
And then they then from there, okay.
Cascade it down.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Or go up.
And then your data analytics tool that you have, you said that's about a year old now in the making. Any, like, I guess over the last year, what type of increase have you seen in client success as a result of using that tool?
Oh, clients are digging it. We're digging it. I mean, just a basic benefit, and this is like just really easy but helpful. A lot of times it's confirming what they've had like hunches about.
Oh, sure.
Like that happened at Chief.
Yeah.
Our client Chief, and our workshop yesterday was a workshop about how they use the leadership reports. She had a hunch about some different leaders. It was evidence in the report. And so then she can like go straight to the CEO and say, okay, now here's what it is. And it's a messaging tool, basically.
That's good. So it looks like they're giving examples here.
Yeah.
Yeah, scenarios where people can actually see, okay, this is what's happened.
Yeah.
But you said the most common issues are typically just like catfighting in the office.
Yeah, so in-group, out-group dynamics, power dynamics. For inclusion, it's amazing. You get some senior leaders that are strong on allyship, you could change your whole culture. I mean, so there's some key skills that if you just double down and develop them, it really changes the whole culture.
And when you talk about the leaders in that respect, what are some of the initial skills that they need to improve on?
It depends. It depends. Every leader should double down on becoming an ally.
Okay.
You know, for anyone who's less represented, you don't hear from as much, like we got to get those voices, you know, vocal.
Now, are you also creating some of the employee pulse surveys? Do you guys have those as well? Or
So that we do all that, it's actually in the training.
okay.
So those are questions that employees are answering in the actual training.
Now, are these all for new employees or these people who've been employed for a while? I mean, because some companies now are talking about doing pulse surveys for employees who are first starting.
We're for current employees, and it's all around compliance and culture.
Okay.
It's not about operations.
Okay. Okay. So are there other companies that you tie in with, maybe more on that other end, like exit surveys, entrance surveys? No.
Not yet. Right now, the only companies that make sense to tie into are case management applications for employee relations data,
Okay.
so that you can give employee relations teams visibility into where they should go proactively.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.